Hey everyone, and welcome to this Udio 1.5 tutorial. Is it a masterclass? I mean, I don't know. We're going to go over everything that you need to know from the very basics all the way up to more advanced features. So yeah, sure, let's call it a masterclass. Okay, we got a lot to cover. Let's dive in. So as a quick note, I did partner with Udio for this video, and that's actually a good thing because it really gave me the time to be able to explore every nook and cranny. So thanks, Udio. So as I'm sure you know, Udio is a platform that will generate music for you based off of a prompt. It's very simple to get started. All you have to do is come up to this top bar here and type in whatever you want to hear. Your prompt does not have to be super elaborate. In this case, we're just putting a song about how the heat wave this summer has been terrible. The singer can't wait for winter to get here. You hit create and within a few moments, we have two songs waiting for us here. We have Waiting for Winter and Awaiting Winter's Chill, both of which are in the pop, dance pop genre. We'll take a look at how to switch that out in just a second.
This summer's blazing bright, sweat dripping on it on.
So not bad, not my particular cup of tea when it comes to genre, but we can change that. So once again, if we head back up to the prompt here, you'll notice here we have a number of different musical genres. You can always prompt in for your own genre, but in this case, I'm just gonna hit blues. This actually extends out to a number of other subgenres, allowing you to further refine, the overall sound that you're looking for. Let's try out some Blue-Eyed Soul, why not? So we're gonna hit create again.
This summer he's been burning me down. Feel like the sun, it won't give me no break.
As a note, the lyrics from our two songs have obviously changed. There is a way that we can make sure that we maintain lyrics across generations. We'll take a look at that in just 1 second. But as a quick aside, if you're looking for a song without lyrics, all you need to do is issue a prompt. For example, let's go crate digging at the record store with a prompt like funk 1970s, jazz funk, and then I just noticed over here there's rare grooves A to Z, so we're gonna pop that in. Because we want this to be an instrumental, all we need to do is come down to this lyrics tab and click on instrumental. Let's run that prompt and see what we get. So yeah, pretty awesome, and I didn't have to spend like an hour and a half digging through the dollar bin at the record store. Now, you'll note under clip length that we have two different options. You can either generate songs at 30 seconds or at 2 minutes. Both options can be added to and extended. We'll take a look at that in just a little bit. For right now, I'm just going to leave it on the 30-second mark while we look at some lyrics. So running a fairly basic prompt of an indie folk song with a female singer. The theme of the song is about how she can't wait for the fall season. I promise I won't make all of the examples about different seasons. From here, you can go down to the advanced creation tools. Once we're in this section, you can either choose to have your lyrics auto-generated, once again, an instrumental, or you can write your own lyrics. And just as a note, and actually even written down here, is do write lyrics suitable for a 30-second clip. Like, it's not that much time, so you're not gonna have, a verse, a chorus, and a bridge here. You're really just looking at, well, as they say here, around 6 lines. Now, I do want to note that that is not necessarily a hard rule. As we'll see in the 2-minute version later on, I really pushed things quite a bit, and the results were fairly staggering to me. Per the recommendation, I have given it about 6 lines. Longing for the cool embrace, leaves will turn, and I will yearn. Yeah, these are ChatGPT lyrics, just FYI. I'm not going to front here. I did not write these. So let's hit the create button and see what we get.
Longing for the cool embrace, leaves will turn, and I will yearn.
So yeah, not too bad. Definitely something that I think that you would hear in like the montage section of a coming of age indie movie. But if we want to have a little more control and shape over all of this, there are commands that we can issue, like bracket verse close bracket at the beginning, and 3 lines later put bracket chorus close bracket. Udio will follow those directions.
Oh, I can't wait for a fall, when the leaves begin to fall, in the magic of it all.
And of course, what's sort of fun about all of this too is that you can just come up to your initial prompt and, change that out for whatever you want. So let's do this as soon as a punk song, see what happens. And indeed, we end up with Anticipation of Change, a hardcore punk song that I think definitely is more in line with something that you would find in my playlist.
Please don't turn, and I will yearn for all the checks white grades. I can't wait for fall.
And that, my friends, is not only incredibly amazing, but also incredibly silly as well. Now, obviously, you are not simply limited to verses and choruses. There's a whole list of commands that you can try out. I'm listing them here. You can screenshot it if you want, but I'll also link below Udio's unofficial community tips doc, which has a number of structural indicators and additional descriptors that you can try out. Now, clearly, you're not going to be able to cram all of those commands into one 32-second clip, and that is actually where the Udio 130 model comes into play, because this can generate clips up to 2 minutes and 10 seconds. We can, of course, extend past that, and there is still very much a use case for the 32 as well. But let's give this a shot real quick. So, utilizing the Udio 130 model with some additional commands and kind of a pirate sort of sea shanty theme, you can see here we begin with a spoken line. We have verse 1, a pre-chorus, and a drop as well. And I want to show you this to illustrate exactly how smart Udio can be.
Raise the sails, fly to adventure and glide. On the seas where legends thrive, we set sail our spirits high. With the map and the captain's dream to find the goal, clean the gleam through the storm and crashing waves. We are bound by what we crave in the hard ocean's light. We'll find treasure in the night.
So I just want to point out that, yes, we did get the spoken line, verse 1, and the pre-chorus, but what was interesting is that Udio was smart enough to put the drop in at the "We'll find treasures in the night." We actually have it listed after that, and actually I just realized I did not put a closed bracket there, and it was actually smart enough to know what I wanted. But for rhythmic purposes, it actually put it at the "We'll find treasures in the night" line. So yeah, that kind of cool. If you want to listen to the entire Legends of the Sea, I'll have it published up. I'll show you also how to do that in just a minute. Very briefly, one thing that kind of amazed me in terms of the 130 model's context window, I did a project for my kids' swim team, put in the names of 72 different kids, and had Udio write a boastful rap song about their undefeated season. And indeed, it got all 72 kids. So yeah, you can push it a little bit further than you might think. So once we have either a 30-second clip or like a 2-minute song that we like, but we want to continue working on it, all we have to do is come down. This is Endless Echo. This is like a dream pop song that I put together earlier. If you push the extend button here, everything will repopulate here. Let's take a quick listen to Endless Echo.
Caught in time, the echoes of your life fade again, eternal climb. The clock is spent, my friend, in reverse. It's time to break the chain.
Yeah, you get the idea, kind of an ethereal dream pop song. From here, we can choose our extension placement, either putting a section after it, putting a section before it, adding an intro to it, or adding an outro. In this case, I hit add selection and just simply hit the extend button. And indeed, we now have 2 versions of Endless Echo that now run at a minute.
Round and round we keep on turning, life's rewind, trees keep on burning.
Now, in our original version of Endless Echo, the 30-second version, it actually ends with kind of this delay synth part. Let's take a listen to that real quick.
This past no end in sight.
Now, if I really like that section and want to expand upon that, one of the things I can do is come to the crop and extend function. You simply hit this slider, turn it on here, and you'll see, we have our full waveform of the 30-second song. Now, what I can do is just move the sliders along here and find the spot, and I think that's mostly delay. We'll double check that real quick. From there, we simply hit the extend button, and in a few moments, we have a new song that begins with that section. I was a little sloppy with the crop, but this will show you what it does. Now, granted, that is a different song, but that's actually the point of this. Briefly, before we move on to advanced features, I did want to bring up manual mode, which you can toggle on with this switch. Here, you aren't going to be prompting with natural language. Instead, you can prompt via keywords. The advantage here is that you can, really genre mash here and actually call out specific instruments as well, as I did here with dark synth, post bop, and trumpet. So running this, let's see what we get. Pretty cool. Definitely very much gives me all of like the 80s cyberpunk sci-fi vibes. Now, under advanced features, we have a number of options here. You can switch back and forth between the 1.5 model or the 0.1 model. Personally, I've just been keeping everything on the 0.5 model. Your prompt strength slider, you can take up to, high or low, obviously. I think it defaults at 50%. As a note, the higher that you crank this, the more the output will adhere to your prompt, but you may end up with artifacting or some unrhythmic things. Your lyric strength, which also defaults at around 50%, if you crank that up higher, you will get better pronunciation of your lyrics, but you do run the risk, once again, of things sounding a little less natural and less like rhythmic and in key. Seed is a concept that comes out of diffusion models. I'm not going to get too deep into this right now, but the way that it basically works is that everything begins with sort of a spattering of static, and then from there, a AI model then hallucinates in that static to build off of the prompt and create something. It's kind of like staring at a cloud and seeing a shape. So if you're ending up with generations that are kind of sounding very similar, one of the things that you can do is just hit this randomize button here, the dice button here, and you'll end up with different seed numbers. So that'll end up switching up essentially the overall output. Start is, where your song actually begins. This is a thing for the Udio 32 model. If you crank it all the way to 0, the song will begin at the beginning, and obviously the higher that you crank it, the further along in the song it will begin generating. This is helpful if you're looking for an idea for a song that you do plan on extending for a beginning section, an intro section, and an outro section. If you're in the 130 model, this changes to clip timing, in which you can change where your song will either begin or end. So if you are doing a 2-minute song that you know that you want to turn into like a 15-minute jazz epic, you may want to start off with something like the beginning of the song is at 0, and then it ends at the 25% mark. Lyric timing is also in the 130 model. This lets Udio know where like the singer should begin singing. So if you are doing something like, Jazz Odyssey, and you want a long drawn out 1-minute instrumental, set the lyric timing here for like 50 seconds or 60 seconds into the song. And then at that point, the lyrics won't start being sung until 60 seconds into the song. Clarity is the fidelity of your instrumentation output. The higher that you put it, obviously the more clear things will be, but once again may come at the cost of sounding less natural. It defaults around the 23%, I believe. So I would play with it in this range. I wouldn't crank it all the way up to high. Now, one setting that I do recommend that you crank up is generation quality. It defaults at high, but you can crank it up to ultra. Now, that does come at the cost that your output will be slower to render, but it's really not that long. So, I personally always like crank it up to ultra and just leave it there. Now, to me, one of the most interesting new features in Udio is the ability to take your own audio and upload it and either extend it, Inpaint it, or remix it. It might take you a minute to get your head around what each one does, so let's quickly illustrate remix. So breaking out the old guitar, this is a G major 7 arpeggio exercise that I learned like ages ago, but I always liked it because it has kind of a very musical, floaty quality to it. It's basically all based around this thing. And then you basically just arpeggiate each of those chords. Yeah, you get the idea. I'm not going to run through the whole thing. So taking that and just recording that. So now taking our file and bringing it over to Udio, simply just drag it on in. What we can do here is now bring this down to the remix tab here and put in a prompt. In this case, I'm going to put in orchestral pop and orchestral easy listening. Let's just see what we get with this. Again, we're going to want to take our remix settings and bring them up a bit. If you leave it down here in similar, it will sound pretty much exactly the same. So you definitely want to drag this up a little bit. We're once again going to hit instrumental, and let's fire it off and see what we get. Now, what's really interesting is what happens when you download Ethereal Horizons and then line it up with our original audio recording, and you end up with this. So that's really just scratching the surface with Remix, but I think does illustrate that there's like a ton of potential creative application here. Okay, let's move over to Extend now, and we're going to use a piece, sort of a Tool-inspired song that I've used on the channel a few times in the past. Let's take a listen to the original. So giving this a prompt of like progressive metal, psychedelic, a song about the universe being shaped like a donut, which by the way, it is shaped like a donut. Now, in terms of Inpainting, we're going to return to Endless Echoes, our dream pop song here. All we have to do is come down once again and hit the Inpaint button. That will populate this window. We choose a 28-second context window, so it's not very long, so we're just going to go here. And then I want to change the opening line, the Caught in Time Echoes of Your Life. Let's take a listen to that real quick.
Caught in time, the echoes of your life fade again, eternal climb.
Now let's replace those lyrics, and in order to do so, let's get a highlight in this section. You want to do 3 stars. The lyrics that I quickly generated were trapped in space, the whispers of your soul drift away, endless race. And then you want to close out the Inpaint with, again, 3 stars. All we simply do is hit Inpaint again. And in just a few moments, we have our revised version.
Trapped in space, the whispers of your soul drift away, endless race.
That is a really good song. I'll actually publish that and link it down below. So once we have a song that we're happy with, there are a few different things that we can do. For one, we can actually just download the song as is by hitting this button. You have a number of different ways that you can go about downloading it. You can download it as a video, an MP3, a WAV, or via stems. Or you can generate a video. Finally, and probably most importantly, before hitting the big red publish button, you do have the ability to edit and kind of clean up your song a little bit. Not the actual content of the song, obviously, but sort of the presentation. By hitting the edit button, we can swap out the title if you want to, or just get rid of like edit V2, extension V1. You can also add a description about your song and add some relevant tags. If you want to swap out your cover image as well, you simply hit the edit image button. Here we can either generate an image. Simply, they actually do provide a image prompt down here for you. If you want to come up with something on your own, you can as well. Simply hit the generate button. It'll obviously generate an image for you, plus give you 2 alternates as well to choose from. You can also upload your own image if you want to. It will have to be a 1x1 image. With all that taken care of, just hit the publish button, and now your song is available for you to listen to, as well as the entire Udio community, and really, well, anybody else that you send the link to. Please let me know in the comments if you guys have any other questions, or if there's anything that I covered here that you'd like me to take a deeper dive into. If you have any comments or suggestions that you'd like to leave for Udio, please drop them in the comments as well. I think they're actually going to be looking through them. Finally, if you've got some really great songs that you'd like to share, leave them linked in the comments below as well. I'm sure that we'd all love to take a listen to them. In the meantime, I thank you for watching. My name is Tim.